before we get into this evening's live and before I turn on the comments, I want to go over my own personal feelings about what the developments have been here today. And for some of you who don't know, a very big moment happened in Texas today. And this is something I didn't know how, I didn't know why, I didn't know where, or I didn't know the exact time it was going to happen. But this has been one of my prophecies I've talked about since 2021. And it's not just mine, but just something that I've envisioned to happen. Is that the governments around the world, because of liquidity, we're going to be forced to use cryptocurrency to balance budgets. Now, I personally believe two things. One, the US government created Bitcoin. Two, the World Economic Forum created XRP. That's just my own personal beliefs. And that's what got me into XRP in the very beginning. Just because in a lot of conspiracies that I was going down the rabbit hole, XRP started to show up at the front of the WEF. And I understand at some point here, unfortunately sooner rather than I expected, even myself, we're going to get into this digital system. I was thinking between 28 and 32. I don't think it's going to take that long. In Texas, they introduced a bill to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve by selling off U.S. gold reserves. Yeah, I couldn't think of a dumber thing we could possibly do to hammer the people. So what this tells me, and this is always the final straw before the back or the camel breaks, or the camel's back breaks, you know, they always, and there's never been an instance in human history you can go back to where they don't make the richest of the rich and they take all the wealth they possibly can before that moment and they put it on the backs of the people to where you have the middle class cease to exist. You're going to get some from the middle that'll end up going to the upper class because they just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Us, lower middle class, upper middle class, it doesn't matter. You're going to push up to the upper class if you've been following what I've been telling you. And it's just, that's the way it's going to go. I told you this isn't what I wanted to do. There's a reason why I'm invested the way I am. And it's certainly not because I like what's going to end up coming at the end of this. But I do know to stay ahead, you've got to understand the game that's being played. And this is not one of those, let's be happy, let's be sad, let's be emotional. That's not what this is. This is, let's be honest. Let's be honest. So now that the government is creating this Bitcoin strategic reserve, we already know what's going to happen. Because we know that the US dollar is overly inflated. There's only so much they can do. Every 30 days or so, it's like what? A ridiculous $1 trillion in debt. That's like it's too much. We can't even afford our interest payments. So I believe when they print Tether, the 2 billion Tether that they always do when they mint it by the Tether Treasury, that's the Federal Reserve printing off Tether. And then they buy into the market to pump it up. And then they use those profits to pay the monthly interest bill on our debt, which is enormous. I also think that's why the European Union is delisting Tether tomorrow. Because they know the US government is using it to basically inflate everything in crypto. I think there's something bigger going on. But I also know that things are coming to a head a lot quicker than I expected. And just seeing the writing on the wall with certain things, we're literally, the countdown is starting. The countdown is starting. Like where I live, we got a warning in Michigan that Canada, if tariffs go through on Canada, they're going to cut off in Michigan, New York. What was the other one, Julie? Wisconsin. A few others around us. So like, guess what I got to do now? Guess what I have to do? I'm going to buy a generator just so that I have one, but things are going to start to unfold. I'm not saying that's going to play out. I'm just saying they're putting scare tactics in the media, but what are they distracting everybody from? What did they just put out on 60 Minutes? Your one saving grace besides precious metals to get very wealthy. Precious metals aren't going to get you wealthy. They're going to bring you to the next level and also sustain it. See, this is where the game begins. If you can figure it out through crypto, and we're going to get to XRP, and believe me, some of you aren't going to like this because it's taking too long to get to the point. This entirety of this 60 minutes is the point today. Is the point. It's so crazy where we're at already right now. It is so crazy where we're at right now. But what's going to end up happening here is some of you, by dumb luck or pure genius, found your way into crypto. And if you did it during this past bear market, like I said, the last time in human history we'll get the chances at these levels. We didn't know how long it was going to take. We didn't. We don't even know. It feels more like now there's no possible way that we're just going to open the floodgates all the way back down. And it's certain things, if they do transpire, and we'll talk about today, if this plays out the way it looks like on the charts, I don't know how fast this can go because I've never seen this before in an XRP chart other than 2017, and it went friggin' ballistic. And if it goes anywhere near, even at a fractional pace, it's going to get scary. You think the portfolio already looks scary now? How we've already crossed the zero from 1 0 to the next. So that means if you're a 3-digit, you're a 4-digit. If you're a 4-digit, you're a 5-digit. If you're a 5-digit, you're a 6-digit. That's what's happened in our community over the last 3 years. And now this time around, it's turned another digit. So now I have 4 digits to 5 digits, 5 digits, some probably 6 digits if I actually count it all up. And that's nothing. Like, that's what I'm saying. We've done the hard work. So don't be afraid of this time in the cycle. You know the 60 minutes? The smear campaign? Crypto's bad. It's dangerous. It's for the criminals. It's an unsecure asset. It's not where you want to be. Like, that was the whole thing they did that. What do you think happens when they do that? That's because all of the wealthiest people in the world, in the stock market, in the crypto market, they're getting wealthier beyond their wildest dreams, while the average folk doesn't even understand crypto or the stock market, let alone put their money in it. Ask your fellow friends, how many of them are in crypto? I'm telling you, I'm XRP future millionaire, and most people don't even know what I'm talking about that are around me. So I can only imagine what it's like for the general public who doesn't have an audience of, well, I'm 14 people away from 30,000. So if you're following today and 14 of you follow, I'll hit 30,000 during this live, and that would be an unbelievable thing. Milestone, one would say, but we're going to go over all of this, and it's going to be unbelievable after we can draw some conclusions and we see certain things. But we're going to get into the bill. We are certainly going to get into the bill. We're going to get into the charts, and this descending wedge or falling channel. I have an idea, and I don't want to copy trade anymore and leverage because it's just disgusting how many people, one, are getting scammed out of, I don't even know how it's possible to fall through a copy. I don't even want to get into that. But two, how many people are being liquidated in leverage across the world. So my idea is, with that platform, I'm only doing 1x, and whatever I decide to do, I don't know how large, maybe I'll throw a few $1,000s into a trade, but it's going to be from a 1x standpoint. So it's going to be just like spot trading, but I'm not going to tell anybody about it. So if you figure out how to find it, you know me on BITUNIX, you know what I do, but it's just going to happen in the background. So I think the focus on leverage, no more. Not even me saying, oh, I got this little 5x. No, we need to focus on spot because the bigger game is upon us now. And I can see it unfolding too quick. It's going too damn quick. That's why so much money is being lost here. To the tune of $1.7 billion just 48 hours ago by a liquidation from leverage. That's too much money. That's too much money. Good evening. 6:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, December 12th, 2024. I'm XRP future millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Look at that. I can't even see comments. Julia won't even let me see comments today. Let me turn my phone on just so I can kind of see gauge of what I'm looking at here. It did not show me the comments. So, but welcome in, everybody. Hi, Tom. Got in a little late. Hope you're well. Oh, I'm doing great. XRP, still a good buy. Don't get left behind. Oh, XRP will never be 1,000. Bridge currency, November 22nd, 20. Hey, I'll let you guys talk about that. Yeah, oh, they sure do, KBS. They do need to learn to ignore the government narrative. But listen, you see how just listen. You see how XRP, now it's in the consolidation phase. You see how over the past about, I would say, 8 to 10 days, the buzz is dying down a little bit. Notice how everybody was talking about how it's a can't miss, this and that. Now, how quickly, within a same bullish setup, everybody's starting to talk now about, oh, if you don't get out now, you're going to see it back to 90 cents. How can you guys not see this topping pattern? How can you not see that this rally's over? Without even giving us a real answer of why would it be over back to the start? Like, I would argue with, if we have a technical breakout target and we don't hit it out of a descending wedge that lasted almost 7 years, can we really say that it's over? If all we've done is back tested the 2021 cycle high, and now we've back tested as support, how does that make it over? Like, this is the most exciting, the most exhilarating, and the most beautiful thing I've seen out of XRP in my 4 years of covering it for all of you. And it's simply because the pace that it moved to get here and how quickly it took out that 2021 high, I thought that was going to be a pain in the ass to take out. And what did it do? It gave it a Mike Tyson 1-2 combo, and there it was. And it even teabagged it on the way back down as support. So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That was a unbelievable push through, and then it strutted its stuff. It basically did the gritty. It got down and did the gritty. Then, you get what I'm saying here? Like, something big is happening. I don't think a lot of people are realizing this. Like, we're sustaining at $2.34, and some people are mad that it's dropping. Let that sink in. Are these the same people that were mad that they weren't buying at 50 cents? Are these the same people who were criticizing it at 35, saying it would never go to $2 or ever hit $1, ever go to... I don't know what people are expecting, but I know what I'm expecting. I am so very happy. I am so very happy. The XRP ecosystem has given me more bread than I could ever explain to you. And it's not just XRP. This is also a very big one. Up 30% today, back to about 30 cents. And I know a lot of people were getting disappointed when it went up and then it dropped way back down. You haven't seen nothing yet in this cycle. If this actually is a breakout, I mean, this would just be the first steps. I mean, and I'm not going to talk much right now about it, but 64 cents. Guys, I seen something else that was, remember when we started talking about this, and this is where I just talk. And if you like it, you like it, and you get a better understanding of how I come to the conclusions and do what I do. Because I'm going to show you one today again that I don't know the best way to do it. I don't know the best way to say it. Oh, I must have deleted the downtrend. But remember when we were talking about XR? Is there anybody in here, and I'll look at my phone, that was in here with me? Because some people aren't going to be like, oh, this never happened, which is fine. I don't care. But is there anybody who was here when we talked about why it was so important the time we paid attention to this and we finally seen an uptrend develop? Does anybody remember when it was doing the consolidation and I got so excited to show everybody back here a long time ago, and I said, look at this small uptrend that probably doesn't even matter to anybody right here. This is when I decided to show it to the audience because it made this just minute. And I'm going to show you, I showed this before, I'm not going to do it again. But there was a whole bunch of influencers who pushed this at the same time. I don't know why. I don't know if they were, I don't know what the reason was at the time it happened. But a lot of people pushed it 8 months before I did, when it was way up here. I waited for the consolidation, and until I finally seen, because I seen it was consolidating in what looked like almost a wedge form, but I waited until I seen the first uptrend. There was a fake out here, but I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even buy here. I seen this at 1.2, and I didn't buy. I seen it up. I seen the drop. That is where I bought. That drop confirmed my uptrend, and I said, holy shit. Sure as crap, by the time I came on and did the live, it was at like 2.1 cents. And I'm like, I wish it was still at 1.7, but I am still actively buying until it gets above this breakout point. And I did. To the tune of 50 something thousand. Then I ended up getting about almost 7,000 by staking it when they offered it. But clearly in the white papers, it said they only had a certain amount to stake. This token only has 99 million total circulating supply ever, like 99.4 million. It's XRP healthcare, and it's just so. And the only reason I'm saying this is because there's another one that I've been watching that all of a sudden, here we go again. Here we go again. And you're going to look at it and see the same thing. Watch. This came from the bottom, and it was already up 100 and something percent, and then it consolidated 150. And then when it consolidated back down, it was still up almost 100% when we were buying. That's what I don't think a lot of you realize. This was up like 100% from the bottom. But see this uptrend it created? Once it did this and it solidified this pattern of showed me this wedge forming. It was a descending consolidation. This target is enormous. So I said, guys, we got to buy this and we're going to have to sit on it for a while. And I'm not selling it when it makes the first move up. And it made a move up, consolidated back down, made a move up, consolidated back down. Because I know in my heart, this is going to be my biggest gainer I've ever had in my life. And I've known it from the beginning. And right now, it's going to consolidate up and down. Like, this is not one for you to watch with your heart. Because you just let it play out. But it's up 1,177% this month alone for us. And that, so you're talking about a 12 bagger right now, if not more. Actually, it's more. This is like a 14 bagger for me right now. So like some people are like, Tom, you sit in XRP and you don't get these massive gains. No, I sit in the right things. I just know to be patient. So 14x, that's a good one. But that's not what I'm holding it for. Like, some of these are going to be 10,000% gains. You've seen this in past cycles. You've got to find the right ones. You've got to find the right ones. And the reason I say that, and we're going to get into XRP's chart deep, but this is another one that I've been watching for eons. Eons. Looks similar to, does this look similar to anybody? Just off the start. Do you see what's happening here finally? It's the same thing I watched with XRP healthcare. Very similar. Downtrending pattern. Looks like a wedge was forming. Possibly. Maybe it's a little bit different on this one, but you can see it just like that. It finally breaks out, and then it starts pushing out. And then the uptrend, it's not where I get excited on the drop, remember. This is what, it's the uptrend that gets formed here. It's the uptrend in these things. So now all of a sudden we got a defined uptrend. Well, now what do we look at? Like, there's so many of these. This one has 100 million, 130 million in circulation, 1 billion total circulating supply. And I will get into later, but this is one I hope I don't forget about. I hope I don't forget about it, because once this breaks, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. Look at that, 175% it's up right now from pretty much the bottom. I would say if it consolidates back to 2.6 cents, because I've already started buying this, not a terribly crazy amount, but I've been a little bit slowly but surely. A little hesitant to talk about it, but finally going to at least bring it into the discussion, at least for that long. Let's see. And that is just one thing. Oh, I love this. I love all the comments. Make sure to get out your valuables in cold wallet storage before all the exchange. Oh, I mean, like, if you're looking, the Jonesburg, been watching your channel. Thank Jesus for your direction. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And remember to stay humble and show humility at all times. That's an important lesson, I think, that we can all live by. But XRP, still very much in what either is a descending wedge, or you can say it's like a bull flag. You could call it a falling channel. Super bullish right now. That is a inverted hammer candle in the daily. Realize we only have 16 minutes left in the daily. The only thing that I see that could keep us from going now is what we talked about earlier. If it wants to build the inverse head and shoulders, then we would have to come down here somehow, some way, and we would have to fill out the inverse right arm in a higher time frame. That was the only thing we talked about earlier if it couldn't get up, past $2.40, I believe it was. So that's the one thing that I could see happening. I mean, why would they just let us take it real easy? I think if it's going to play out, they would probably drop back down. And now look, if this forms like I just drew out, I mean, you could technically say, well, couldn't we just make this higher and say we created something like this? Maybe we're trying to create that. And that was an overzealous dump. See what I'm trying to get at here? So if that's the case, it would dump down somewhere around here, and then you would have the inverse head and shoulders. I know it looks freaking weird right now, but imagine I draw it out for everybody, and it comes up. Does it look weird anymore? I don't think so. Does that look weird? I don't think it does look weird anymore if it did something like that. So if you're looking for opportunity, right there, somewhere around $2.16 probably. Do I think it's coming down there? Oh, I would be shocked if it doesn't. And I'm super bullish. But I'm looking for this pattern to develop. If this develops that pattern, holy smokes. We can reanalyze, though. We can say, well, it's going to take longer to get down, and it'll do this, right? Somewhere around here if it takes that long. Oh, well, holy smokes, we'll still get to 306 on this very push. But I'm trying to build a pattern out. That's where do you buy ESEU? Here, I'll show you. It's the only place that I can find it, but it's at least on an exchange that I've been using and showing you guys forever. And we're going to talk about HBAR. Mark Maloney said some things that'll shock you. God, I'm so bullish on HBAR. Last time Mike Maloney talked about HBAR, about a month or two later, it just went ballistic. So the guy knows what he's talking about. So if you're looking to buy any of the ones I talk about, but in this sense, there's IOTA, there's VELO, which is not readily available on most exchanges. And for ESE, it's going to end up being ESE when you look at the symbol, but it's on HOTCOIN. HOTCOIN crypto exchange, you click there. You don't need to do a KYC or VPN because you're not sending or receiving from a bank account. It's literally going from another exchange. You can do a KYC to know your customer on any of the exchanges. You just don't have to. Like the only one I'm verified on is crypto.com so that I can use their crypto.com Visa debit card. And I can put my crypto profits into there, and then I can use it as a prepaid card. Yes, they should be in the dryer. Those and towels I washed. Towels and washed, yeah. Getting their showers ready? Okay. So yeah, on HOTCOIN, that's where you would do it. BITUNIX, a lot of opportunities, and I don't want to talk about leverage or anything like that, but if you're somebody who gets feisty, that has the lowest maker-taker fee in that regard. And then LBank for XRP Healthcare, but the only way I can do it is on the app. It doesn't restrict me on the app, but if I try to do it on the website, it says our IPs are restricted, but when I talk to customer service, they said we're allowed to trade in the U.S., so I don't know what the hell is going on. But I do know it's a good on and off ramp from the XRP Healthcare wallet if you're looking to, garner some profits or whatever the case may be, or if you're trying to get in, which obviously it's up 14x from where we bought it. So, I mean, how am I supposed to promote it there and say to buy it? So anyhow, let's read this. A lot of stuff to talk about today. How long has it been? Holy crap, 25 minutes I've been talking. Dude, I've been talking 25 minutes already. Can you believe that? What I can't believe is Robert Montoya, thank you so much for the $5 donation. And also being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. Crass is a strong word, my friend. I think we could have a pullback here to like $3.15 roughly to create that inverse right shoulder and to try to tell us if we're in a wedge or not. See, right now we don't know because we've hit the wedge and we've hit the falling channel support. And if we could hit this wedge support at 315, at least we would know that it's in a wedge and not a channel. If it comes below the wedge, well, then we know we're in a channel. We might come back down to a $1.88 area. You know, if it has to come all the way down. There is still support at 222 and 215. But we'll be at 215, remember, we'll already be at that area. So, and we would have already broke 222. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm trying to see play out. If not, and we just go straight up, oh, give me it. Let's get over 240 and let's get the hell out of this area. We have a technical target of around 305. It's coming down a little bit because it's playing out a little bit longer now. Actually, it's, you could say anywhere between 305 and 314. We don't know exactly where it's going to break out. But let's read this real quick. This is the big news of the day. Texas lawmaker proposes bill to establish strategic Bitcoin reserve. A lawmaker in the Texas House of Representatives have drafted legislation to create a Bitcoin reserve as part of the state's treasury. In a bill tentatively named the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act filed with the state government on December 12th, Representative Giovanni Capriglione proposed the comptroller hold Bitcoin as a reserve asset for at least 5 years. And that's why I said the clock is ticking if they do this, where you could not hold your digital assets, probably, well, not most of them, but at least Bitcoin. Your clock would be ticking to sell it as the U.S. government is garnering that reserve. And that could be across the board for crypto. So we could have a cataclysmic event, but something tells me it's going to be ass backwards. Like, we're going to get everybody stinking rich, and then when it's time, whenever the general public wakes up, the stinking rich are going to move on to the next venture. That's my fear. They did it upside down, and unfortunately we were in early, and we're going to be a part of it, good or bad, because our fellow man and woman, the worse they do, the better we're going to be doing, and it's going to be hard to stomach. It already is. The legislation suggested that Texas residents or governmental entities could voluntarily donate their Bitcoin to the reserve. But in contrast to proposals about national Bitcoin reserves, did not mention any crypto potentially seized by authorities. So, a bill to be entitled an act relating to the establishment of a Bitcoin reserve within the state treasury and the management of cryptocurrencies by governmental entities. Isn't this a stark difference to XRP's a security, crypto's dangerous, like they just said on 60 Minutes for the world to see, or at least the whole U.S.? Isn't this a stark difference in the just days after that happened? What the hell happened to It's a Danger? It's all for criminal activity. What? The biggest criminal cartel? It's okay because it's our government. So I'm not going to get into it. But you see what I'm saying here. Nothing's by accident. Nothing is by accident. It's all by design. I'm not a wizard. I can just put the pieces together faster than most. So when I'm in, it's too early. When I'm out, it's too quick. But it always follows suit. I'm always ahead, and I'm always before the first eyes start to get it on to the next, before the general person understands, I've already seen, done, conquered, gone. And by the time the average person is ready to exit, I've already experienced, I've already felt, I've already realized the potential of the opportunity, and I'm already moving on to the next one that the general public is about to get fleeced out because they're at the top, and then they're going to come into something else that they're like, holy shit, look at this next venture. Who knows what the next one will be? I got a weird simulation. It's going to be simulation. A very weird feeling. It's going to be simulation, and it's going to be us. So I'm not looking forward to the digital era or the digital ID and all this nonsense, but it's coming, and it's coming faster than me or you thought possible. So be it enacted by the legislation of the state of Texas, Section 1. This act may be cited as the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act. Section 2, Chapter 403, Government Code, is amended by adding subchapter to read as follows. Subchapter U, Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, Section 403701, definitions in this subchapter. Bitcoin means the decentralized digital asset created. No taxpayer funds will be spent on buying Bitcoin in order to maximize the chance of the bill passing. Said the crypto advocacy group Texas Blockchain Council. The Bitcoin will come from donations from Texans, U.S.-based companies and other sources of existing state resources, aka taxes, aka price gouging the clientele to fund Bitcoin. I mean, come on. AKA, we're going to print a ton of money into existence and make your dollar worth nothing. Just like Trump said, we're going to de-dollarize the dollar, and this is the source of how it's going to happen at an extreme and fastened pace, even quicker than I thought possible by inflation. This is like putting inflation not on steroids, but on a rocket ship to inflation hell. Like we're literally going to hyperinflation and beyond, but there's no... You're either going to be rich, which is going to be 1 to 2% maybe of everybody watching me right now, or you're going to be so broke and so out of the loop that it is not going to be fun. Money buys power. Power buys a certain level of security because you can pay somebody else who doesn't have it to give it, to enjoy it, and then they'll take care of you. I mean, it's so crazy what we're going into and how so many people would rather watch the NBA or would rather watch professional sports. I don't know if anybody realized with gambling what's going on lately. Crypto, stock market, sports betting, the lottery. Hell, you can even do options on who's going to be the president now, on what kind of legislations are going to be passed. Oh, I'm sorry, but when you can bet on something, it's the most rigged thing in the world. Now you can do up-down options in crypto. I mean, what the hell am I, what's going on? Like, this is certainly not the reality I started in when I was born. I have to be in some kind of timeline shift, parallel universe. I don't know, maybe this is my own purgatory that I wake up and live the same dream over and over again and try to do it better. Like Groundhog Day. But something is not right. We are going to have a catastrophic event around us soon. And I don't know exactly. Project Bluebeam, look in the sky. I don't know what it's going to be. But something isn't adding up here. I'm an analytical. Something is not adding up today. It's not. Something went off in my head today and said the clock has started. And I know 2025 is going to be the year of restitution, and I am not looking forward to it. I've been telling Julie about this for 12 years, or what, 10 years? 10 years I've been telling her about 25, how it's the start of the restitution period, basically. And I don't even know what that means, but I know it's not good based on everything I've seen over my just over 4 decades of living and what I've learned. So according to the text of draft HB 1598, it would require a 2/3 majority in the Texas Senate and House to pass. The state legislature is not scheduled to return until the start of its 89th regular session on January 14th. Similar proposals for Bitcoin reserves in Alabama and Pennsylvania are already in play today. The Texas legislation followed bills proposed or introduced in different U.S. states after the 2024 United States election, now 3 as of today with Texas, which resulted in Republicans winning the presidency and a majority in the House and Senate. The worst part about this is that they don't just say, we're going to just print money and inflate the money supply while buying Bitcoin in hopes that we will outpace the inflation. No. They go a step farther and say, we're going to sell our gold reserves, which we don't even have. That just means they're going to print money. Donald Trump promised to explore establishing a strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. His last campaign, he said Bitcoin was a scam. Cryptocurrency was a scam. This time, we're making a reserve. During his presidential campaign, a Republican lawmaker in Pennsylvania was one of the first to introduce a bill for Bitcoin reserve modeled after a proposal from the advocacy group Satoshi Action Fund. The group's co-founder, Dennis Porter, suggested the same framework was used in the Texas legislation. My, oh my, if we were really willing to go for the citizens, why on God's green earth are we creating a Bitcoin reserve? The biggest Ponzi scheme the world has ever seen, created by the very creators, or perpetrated by the very creators that are starting the Bitcoin reserve. It's amazing how the Ponzi scheme comes full circle. And at one point in the not so distant future, it's 5 years. 5 years is the time. They got to tell you it's 5 years. It's 5 years if this gets signed. You've got 5 years to make your final wishes. You can say goodbye to everything you thought and held and knew to be true. And in 5 years, if you haven't done what you need to do, it's over. I've said this before and I'll say it again. This was our last chance here with crypto to get it at those prices. And if it plays out like this, unfortunately, that's going to ring true. And I hope it doesn't. I really hope that this was just some bullshit here. And it's not from a financial spot here because it's going to make me very wealthy, this next move. But I'm not ready for what comes next. What good is wealth if everything else is taken away? Like that's my personal dilemma here. I knew 4 years ago when I started talking about this, as our portfolio goes into levels we've never seen before and almost makes us feel like we're in la la land, like we can't believe what we're waking up to, because I know it's happening. It's happening to me every day. I look at my portfolios. How many zeros are there today? Like, for years I had that many zeros. Wait a minute, how much is a 10% move? How am I making $8,000 on a 10? You know, for me it used to be a 10% move was $300, $400, $500. Now it's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. So it's starting to become, if you've been doing this since 21 and you've been following the free examples that I give every day, and I'm not a financial advisor, so do as you will. It's not the same as it was in 21. I am not in the same financial spot I was in 21. I am living in my wildest fantasy right now because of what the charts and the markets and the understanding of just being, I'm telling you, that word patience is so understated, so underplayed, so undervalued. I hope this hits home at some way. But like for me, I know if I'm feeling it with the experience I have, that how many of you are looking at your portfolio today and saying, what the hell is going on? Like, I can't believe what I'm looking at here. I must be dreaming. Wake me up, because I looked at this for 2 years and it didn't have that zero there. Is there anybody here that's like that? Dog bite, being sober is a huge help. 100%. Oh, that's exactly it. That's my point. We need to make the money now. That's the whole purpose of this last bear market and what we're doing right now. I love that. We'll worry about the aliens and the CBDC shit later, basically. Jorge said that was me 2 months ago. Yeah, exactly. IQ says same. Mr. Pesci says, I'm looking at my portfolio and thinking yachts. It's crazy. Syrian says, and me a week ago, still looking good though. Oh yeah. Oh, it's looking beyond good, my friend. I can understand it came down from $2.90 to $2.25, $2.30, wherever we decide to settle. But it's not 48 cents. Looks like it's going to explode, I think. Does anybody else see? And I'm just asking, does anybody else see like a dragon tail? Like, is this a dragon pattern? Does anybody even know what that is? I'm just asking. I'm making this dramatic tonight for effect. Does anybody know what the dragon pattern is in crypto? I mean in trading. Ooh, you guys are in for a treat then. You guys would be in for quite the treat. It's like, does it play out? Is it what we're dealing with? Does this look like what we're dealing with? I'm just going to ask you very closely. Does this look like what we're dealing with in this consolidation? Because I'm going to tell you right now, all we're waiting for is this spot right here in the back. Remember how I said that inverse right side? All we're waiting for is this back touch where this white line came down, and then we had the overextension on the right side that almost completely took it out. And that's what we're looking at the wedge setup. So if you're looking at this, and it might be easier to see it if I go to the other chart because I have it in a channel setup. Well, actually, no, I have the other one in the channel setup, don't I? Or did I move it? Oh, yeah, I have it in both right here. But that other part that on there, we already had the pull down. That's literally setting up like this quick wick down right here. Oh, the bull flag from November 5th. You're coming back here. Yeah, that's the entirety of it. That is you can call it, that's what I've been saying. That's a either bull flag, a channel, or a wedge. I've been calling it all three all day because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Whoops. I don't know what it is. Because it could be any of the three, and all three are super bullish. And if that's a dragon pattern, holy smokes, are we about to get crazy. And that uptrend is held. I know what you're talking about. I know this pattern very well. And that's why I have it set up like that. And if you look at it in the daily time frame or the weekly, it starts to give you some holy crap vibes, right? Look at it like that. Or look at it in the weekly. I get what you're saying. That's a huge, huge flag. That's why I just call it the flag pattern. And I've been saying it's either a falling channel, it's a bull flag, or it's a falling wedge. Or descending wedge. Either way, I will take any of them. Any of them. Mr. Pesci, thank you for the $20 donation and the 5th YouTube super chat. He says, who cares? We breaking through. Laugh out loud, not worried at all time. Hey, I care. I care. Because I want to see exactly how this is going to play out. And I want to see how beautiful it is. And I want to see if we're actually right about it. How am I going to know if my technicals are getting better if I can't call it out before it's playing all the way through? I need to know it as it's playing. If this is a dragon pattern, resistance, resistance, resistance on the third one, come down. I'm just telling you guys, just pay attention to this. Resistance, 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 the come down. It should bring us somewhere within this range that I drew down. That is where I'm taking my game, right there. I'm taking it, and I'm riding it, and it's going to go. And our target is up here for the first move. We go to the dragon pattern. First target. It's not a massive move. See what I'm saying? It's going to be spectacular at some point. And then what would happen here in a dragon pattern? Look at where I drew it. You know why I drew it there? Because it's going to trick everybody if it is. And they're going to think it pulled an M-topping reversal. Just hear me out. If it plays out like this, it's going to end up doing like this. And it's going to tease everybody into thinking it's probably an M-topping reversal. And then it's going to shoot. And I always look at the uptrend that's been started, right? Hey, guys, we've been consolidating. It's never going to change. All the FUD says it'll never go up. What the hell? It's going down. Uptrend. Hey, this is kind of nice. Uptrend. I missed out. What do I do now? Wait for the uptrend. Hey, it didn't go anywhere. Well, we're still consolidating. Whew. Then we're going to need the uptrend. Now we're going to need the uptrend. And as long as you value the uptrend, eventually you get that anticlimactic, all-inspiring, blow off the top. Then you can discuss if it's got to have a big drop back down. But until then, I think we need to keep our eye on the prize here, folks. Like, you haven't seen this before because I haven't seen this before. Nor has anybody in crypto that discusses XRP ever seen this setup before. It would have had to play out just like 2017, and it would have had this exact consolidation to have this exact moment. We're getting very close to a moment, and they're not going to let it go up first, folks. I'm just telling you right now. They're going to have to create this fall down, in my opinion, because it's too easy to just let everybody in. I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope it just goes up, and then we can just get on with it. But if it breaks down from here, I'm not going to be any less optimistic. I'm not going to be any less focused. I'm not going to be any less humbled. I'm not going to be any less positive. I'm not going to be any less happy. I'm just going to understand that if it broke down from here, and this doesn't play out like this, and it's not a dragon pattern, and these are all fake signals, it's a gigantic M-topping reversal. And then we're probably going to have to get our umbrellas ready for about that $1.35 area, maybe all the way down to 91 cents. It doesn't mean that it's over. It just means that it's not going to be fun for a little bit. But that scenario to me seems so far-fetched right now that it's going to have to do a lot to get me off of this feeling and to get me off of this trajectory. What if we just sit here and we bounce between $2 and $2.50 and $2.75 for a little bit? I don't think it's going to be long because if we're in a super cycle, things happen quicker than they should. We consolidate and we make moves that would normally take weeks, months, or even years, and we do it in hours, days, weeks, if not just hours. So we're at a very interesting spot. I'm very excited about it. It's been 45 minutes already, 358 people. Is there really that many people? Holy smokes. I'm impressed. I'm impressed so many of you have such tenacity. Really showing that testicular fortitude tonight. I like it. And for the ladies in there, most of you have, let's see, what's the right word? Most of you have, well, we already know just based on comments, higher intelligence than us gentlemen here in our community. But you seem to have more patience. So we'll see. Maybe a little more anxiety at times, but guess what? The best medicine for anxiety is putting something out that's a benefit for everybody. If you can find something that you are passionate about that can benefit society, I'm not talking about going to work, pushing some pharmacy. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm talking about something you come up with that is beneficial to society and you can do it yourself, and the rewards or whatever they are in your own mind, whatever is happy enough for you. Like that for me is doing this. I have found something that's a benefit to everybody if they're willing to listen. I decided to do a business model where it's pay it forward. All my content's free. No matter how much time it takes me, I'm going to do it. And I've been doing it for almost 4 years without a day missed. And that is my proudest thing about this whole thing. But that is what keeps my overactive brain, my lack of serotonin creation from a very bad brain injury when I was younger. I don't only do it at like 25, 30% of a normal person, but that's what keeps me on the right track. But I wouldn't change any experience I have because that's what allowed me to see what I see right now in front of me. And what I see right now in front of me is the reason why all of you who are watching are benefiting from it, and including myself. Because if I didn't do this show, it wouldn't be like this. Now, HBAR, remember, Mike Maloney only talks about things usually when shit's about to hit the fan. So HBAR also has a very big pattern set up here, and we're just speculating here. We don't know if that's how it's going to play, but we're going to have to see here if we do get a touch on support, because if we do, then we know that that was an overzealous breakdown and that it's probably set up a wide pattern like this for HBAR, which I guess you guys could also see a bull flag probably set there. I don't think I need to describe it. But that's what we're looking at. So speaking of HBAR, my voice is a little tired. Most of you will probably leave. But I'm going to show you what Mike Maloney said. I don't know how long I'm going to watch this. But you've got to hear what he says about HBAR. So I do appreciate all of you. Let me go through the P's and Q's real quick. If you're looking to trade XRP or your favorite crypto, these are the exchanges I use. If somebody approaches you, I will never contact you. I will never ask you to copy trade. And if you do, you don't send me money. All you're doing is copy trading my account. That is it on BITUNIX. No transaction occurs. It never leaves your account. I never even get to see your money. That is handled by the exchange. So be safe with your money, because there's a lot of scammers out there and nobody does anything about it. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, they don't care. They promote it. So, just be careful out there and don't give your money to anybody. Like, I'm not going to give you 3 times your XRP by sending me it. I certainly don't have the budget to front run your bankroll, so just be safe. If you're trading and you're using the exchanges that I'm using, some of these exchanges you guys email me, I don't even know what the hell they are. I show you this every day for a reason at the end. BITUNIX, HOTCOIN, and those are my 2 major ones. Crypto.com is where I keep my, my verified account. But the other 2, I don't even have a KYC. But those are my favorite ones because I can kind of trade under the radar. But anyhow, that's how you do it. If I'm never going to contact you. So I'm not going to scam you because I'm not going to talk to you. Like, that's up to you guys to figure out your stuff. If you email me and you want to talk, that's one thing. But I'm not going to send you a message and say, join my Telegram, join my crypto trading exchange, Because the bottom line is the exchange that most of you text me, I don't even know what the hell these scam exchanges are. Like, I've never talked about them, so how could I be using them? So just think. Because there's a lot of scammers that are willing to be pieces of shit and sit behind their computer screen, probably jerking off each other. Excuse my French, but this is what happens. And instead of doing their own thing to be productive, they take from people. Remember, if you're scamming people, you're taking off of somebody's table. That means you're taking from somebody's kids, from somebody's family, from somebody's livelihood. Get a job. Find something that you're good at. If you don't want to get a job, do something like I'm doing and figure it out. But you're going to have to be smart about it because it's not easy. So that's how you do that. But I want to show you what Mike Maloney has to say. It's a shame I even have to talk about the scammers. But believe it or not, my audience sends more money to scammers than they ever do to the actual channel. That's the mind-boggling part. And I don't want anybody to get caught up in that shit.
A lot of to do as soon as we get to state proofs, it's going to be a lot of things that get talked about in the crypto space. You know, it's things that will eventually happen. We are going to do this. Well, the things that are being built on Hedera are actually happening. There's really no network out there that has more potential when it comes to actual utility than HBAR. It's the oil to maybe Bitcoin's gold. Oil to maybe Bitcoin's gold.
Hi, this is Mike Maloney with Brandon Hargraves of HBAR Bull. He's the HBAR Bull. And Brandon, it's been a while since we talked. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're having so much fun in the crypto space in general, but Hedera specifically is really starting to heat up.
Yes.
Are you saying, how did I know that people are sending money to scammers? I'm just making sure. How easy you tell them you'll send them double the amount they send you. How did he know? I'm just trying to answer the questions. If you're asking how I know that these are happening, because people are contacting me in my email showing me how much money they're losing, and it's staggering, it's craziness. I did, Mr. Pesci. I did. I just didn't know if that was verified or not. Tom is the best spirit out here. He cares. God got him. Hey, that's the, you know. And I'm glad that some of you are talking about God, because when you speak God's name, if we speak the name of the Lord, one or more of us is all it takes for us to preach the Lord's name. He becomes present in our actions. We need him present.
You know, it went up basically 828% from November 2nd to December 2nd. So in 1 month, 828% rise.
We were part of it from the bottom, folks.
And so I am so glad that I had the opportunity to load up on some HBAR very early on. It was quite a bit after we made episode 8 of Hidden Secrets of Money. It's really been a wonderful thing. And when it has risen up quite a bit, I have to rebalance my portfolio because everything gets out of whack. So I actually sell some crypto and I buy silver with the proceeds, and that protects me from
what do I always tell you guys?
Downside volatility. So anyway, there is a lot happening in this space. So just to remind all of the viewers, can you sort of describe what HBAR is, because Hashgraph has just taken off like a rock.
Real quick, and I won't stop this again. This is the last time. How many of you watching right now own HBAR, or have considered owning HBAR, or just understand what HBAR is? Love when you mention our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Hey, it's, you know, it's built into here, my guy. It's built into here, so I do it with pride. Loads of HBAR, yes. So McMichael, Mark, Mr. Pesci, Jorge, JW. Tanya is the one who got me to make sure that I had mine. And cheap at just, Tanya, remember when we were buying it back at just over 4 cents? Oh, it was an amazing day, and I was so happy. And people were kind of mad because I wasn't as happy about XRP. But we already loaded up on XRP. That was HBAR's day. So Jeffy got some HBAR. Dylan does. Joe does. And Joe, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months, along with Dodger, with the XRP Predictor. Tanya and JW, thanks for both being in Tom's Army for over 2 years. XRP 589 Moon Badge. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Jan, thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP 589, or with the XRP Diamond Hands Badge. And McMichael and Mr. Pesci, thank you both for your first month in Tom's Army. Papa Wheelie, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months, along with Jorge with the XP Meteor. Just a cheap way for me to do it. So look at all those people that have HBAR. You don't know what HBAR is, Lynn? It's Hedera. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're going to know more right now, so I won't stop this. And then it's up to you guys. If you leave, you leave. But I plan on playing this for a good portion of this if you want to learn.
For a while, you could buy it at a penny. Take us through, let the viewers know what it is first.
Sure. No, that great place to start. And we call those 1 centers, the people that were buying the very bottom back in January of 2020. But Hedera is a layer 1 network. It uses something called Hashgraph, which was invented by Dr. Lehman Baird. He's one of the founders of Hedera. And it has a lot of attributes that make it pretty special in the crypto space. And they created this public network around it. But not just that, they also wanted to have the proper governance. So to layer on top of incredible speed, so we can process 10,000 transactions per second, but it's throttled down to that. We can actually handle many tens of thousands of transactions per second. And with sharding, which is already designed to do as soon as we get to state proofs, it's going to be able to unlimited scale.
Yeah, it's infinitely scalable.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then it has the gold standard of security, asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance. It also has fair ordering, so you don't have to worry about front running, which we see an awful lot of in the rest of the crypto space. They call it MEV, maximum extractable value. And they also wanted to have proper governance. So they didn't just want a group of developers or, just on-chain governance or something like that. They wanted to have the biggest users of the network governing the network. So they wanted to establish something called the Hedera Governing Council. And when Nance and Lehman, the 2 founders, were dreaming this up, they said, well, we want to make this network fit for purpose for enterprise use cases, mission critical enterprise use cases. And if we can meet the needs of them, we can meet the needs of everyone. So let's go find some enterprises to help us govern this network. And so they wanted Fortune 500 level entities throughout the world on different continents and in different industries to be able to govern the network. So when they first said this, people thought they were a little bit crazy, but now we're down the line and we have 32 of these council members. They include Google, Deutsche Telekom, IBM, Nomura. You can go pretty much all around the world. We have 32 of them, all on that level of different enterprises that have expertise in different fields, from law to tech to banking and so forth.
You left out Boeing, and there's some other really big names in here globally. So
we'll mention a few as we go through here, as I talk about some of the use cases.
How many spots are left open on the governing council?
So I believe we are up to 32, so it's going to be 39 total.
I hope that either Tesla or SpaceX gets on that list. I'm really hoping.
I'm hoping as well. We all are. But we'll touch on some of that as well. Elon
Musk, if you're out there, investigate it. Go ahead.
And this network has different services that you can do on top of it. And it's similar to Ethereum. It's very versatile. It can do a lot of different things, but we have a few services. We have just the cryptocurrency service, which allows you to send the native cryptocurrency HBAR back and forth. We also have a smart contract service, which is really versatile, but it's not quite as efficient as some of the other things. We have a consensus service, which is like an online notary. And then we also have a token service. So with a lot of these other networks, when they create tokens, and that can represent anything from, just loyalty points or stable coins, so a currency, or it could be a security like a stock or a bond. When you create these tokens, if you create them with a smart contract, like on other networks, you reduce the efficiency by like 99%. But if you do it at the base layer, you get all the efficiency of the base layer network. So you can get that 10,000 transactions per second. You can send transactions in just a few seconds to finality on our network. And so you get all those benefits of having that token service. So you can use the smart contract service and the token service together to really create some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, I just moved some from a wallet that I had to Coinbase, and it took about a second to a second and a half to have tradable tokens on Coinbase from a wallet, private wallet. And so the speed is absolutely amazing. Is there any crypto out there where Hashgraph can't do the same function faster and more secure?
I can't think of anything, Mike. Pretty much every vertical you can think of, from gaming to real-world asset tokenization, decentralized physical infrastructure, Hedera is making strides in every single one of these verticals.
So listen, if you missed out on XRP, because XRP was also at the 4 and 5 cent level, if you didn't get it at 4.5 cents with us, or whatever it was, right around 4.5, it's under 30 cents right now. Remember when XRP was under 30 cents? Obviously, HBAR hasn't made those big gains yet, over $1 and $2 and whatever. But this is early in the project. Like, this is early still. Like, this is one of the few that when I used to say, when everybody would say XRP is the only one that can do this, I would always say, no, that's not necessarily true. And if we just take a look across the aisle, we talk about it every single day, or we at least acknowledge it every single day, and it's HBAR. That's one of them that can absolutely do everything. And I don't know if it's then some. It's at least as capable, but in some areas it almost feels like it's more capable because there's not the oversight and manipulated power that's present over XRP because of what it's meant to be. Like, this could end up being more of a free running one early on here because it's so cheap. It's at like 28 cents. So, you know, when you start buying these, yeah, it would be nice if you would have bought it at 4 cents, you know, when the push was happening, or before the push. But this is one that's, I'm just going to not talk. I want you to hear this.
It's one of the things that, you know, we go through these 4-year crypto cycles, and there's always, you know, a new thing coming along each time. But a lot of times, some of these really interesting use cases get left by the side of the road. And what Hedera's been doing is kind of picking them up, shining them up, and making them special again. What we've seen, we've had these 4-year cycles where we'll see this huge run up in this new technology as far as the prices go, and then it'll kind of drop off. And each one kind of has its own narrative. We had one in 2013 going into 2014, 2017, 2021, and it looks like we're just entering a new one now. And they all have their own you know, tweak. In 2017, it was retail was kind of entering the space. In 2020, going into 21, we have now enterprises that are actually buying Bitcoin and buying crypto. We had MicroStrategies, we had Tesla, it was Tesla, and then we had Square. They were kind of entering the space, and we also had in going back to 2017, I was kind of crossing my wires there. We also had the ICO boom. This one, it's a little bit different. So now we have ETFs, so it's a lot easier to get involved with these different products. We have Bitcoin had their ETFs in the very beginning of this year, and several of them launched. And then we also had an ETF for Ethereum.
Okay, for the sake of time, I want to go. He talked about, where was this? That's not it. He got into some. Right, not the proof of stake. We already know. Here. This is where I want to push ahead to. Right here.
You're transferring money. Hedera is 1,000 times more efficient than the legacy system, so Visa. It's 1,000 times more efficient. So there's no question that we're going to see things being tokenized. And we're seeing that happening continuously on Hedera. So Red Swan is doing that with real estate. We have teams like Diamond Standard, which is doing it with diamonds. We've had a couple of exchanges launched, so they're starting off small. We had a couple commodities exchanges. So it was Digital Commodities Exchange and Verto are two of the exchanges that started to do this with commodities. But now we're kind of moving up the ladder. The next one that we had, and this is one of the governing council members that just came online, it's the Nairobi Securities Exchange. So this is a national level stock exchange out of Kenya. And the representative that's been coming to the Hedera meetings has actually been the CEO himself. A lot of times, you know, it's a lower level executive, it's somebody from upper management, something like that. But we actually have the CEO, and he's committed to wanting to build his exchange on top of Hedera. And of course, that's where it's going to start. We're going to have, you know, Nairobi Stock Exchange, maybe some other smaller exchanges.
Listen to this, guys.
And then it's just going to move up the line. You're going to have, you know, Texas Stock Exchange, which is going to be launching soon. They're going to start to focus on how is this being done? Where does the efficiencies come from? You know, how fast is the finality? All that kind of stuff. And then it's going to be New York Stock Exchange, COMEX, FTSE. It's just going to go down the line. It's exciting to see. You know, we know that this stuff is going to happen. And, you know, when we first had some of those traditional exchanges with Verto and Digital Commodities Exchange come online, we're like, we see where this is going. And it's following exactly how I expected. And now we have one of the governing council members that's running an exchange that wants to put Hedera at the core of their tech stack.
Awesome. So you talked about 1,000 times more efficiency. So it's 1,000 times more efficient in what aspect? Because it's even far greater than that when it comes to energy consumption. Like compared to Bitcoin, the energy consumption is so infinitesimally small. When it comes to transaction fees, it's 1/100th of a penny to transfer any amount. $1 trillion. The fee is 1/100th of a penny. So what aspect do you have any other measurements of efficiency when you're talking about fees, the speed, the energy efficiency, the you know, and so on?
Now, I don't have them all memorized off the top of my head, but I was actually, when it's 1,000 times more efficient than the centralized system of Visa, right?
Visa, okay.
Visa.
So,
Do you see one that's on here? So if you're a fan of Algo, this is a question I've had many times. Is it worth holding Algo if HBAR is that much faster than it? Like, this is an honest question I've had with myself over and over. That's why I'm a bigger fan of IOTA over Algo, but I still hold over 10,000 Algo. But I've often wondered, is that the wrong decision with certain things because of efficiency? But I know Algo is going to be huge, so I'm more than happy to have it and own it and carry on with it for future. I'm just saying, there's a few of these that HBAR certainly blows out of the water, and it's much cheaper than. So, I think it's a hidden gem. I can't continue to say it more.
you're talking about like Bitcoin power consumption compared to Hashgraph. It is probably more like hundreds of thousands or millions of times more.
And we'll get you the slide that shows how much more efficient. Even some of the other very efficient DLTs out there, they're, you know, 100x less efficient than Hedera. And this was actually, there's a couple different entities that bore this out. The one that I'm quoting right now is from the University College London, one of the Hedera governing council members. You might think that they became a council member and then did the study. It was actually the other way around. They did the study and then they said, you know what, this is something we want to be involved with. So they became a Hedera governing council member. But you're absolutely right around the fees. And what
How is it a hidden gem? Because I said it is. No. Why is it not a hidden gem now? Because it's at 28 cents. If I would have said that at 4 cents, it's a hidden gem. Because I think this is going to be worth way over $1 one day. So when it's in the cents, it's a hidden gem. Especially this low in the cents. Maybe not as big of a hidden gem as at 4 cents. But I believe it's a hidden gem. Do you know how many people that I talk to have no clue what HBAR is and don't own a share of HBAR or a token? You know, so it's that's my own opinion. Now I'm gonna go to one last part of this and then I gotta go. Just because you know of it doesn't mean you know of it. It's a hidden gem because a lot of people think in my audience that certain things are the truth, but if they just look beyond just what they think and open up their mind to other projects, they might realize that things might not be told to them the way that they are exactly told.
Delivering an object that's only a few ounces. So you can do all of that with drones. So they said, well, what is the best sensors we would need to put out to be able to do that? They determined what those sensors were, and then they went about and made sure that they had customers. They're in deep talks with, well, 3 of the 4. He has James, the founder of this team, hasn't told me which 3, but the big four drone delivery services are Google Wing, Amazon Prime, Zipline, and Mana, and they're in deep talks with 3 of those 4. So they have the customers. Then they needed to go out and put the sensors out. So they started a beta program. They have these sensors already throughout the world. And now they're going to be moving on to the next step. They need to incentivize all the people that are running these different sensors.
I want you to hear this just from the beginning of this, and then I'm done.
Since the last time we talked, they've made some traction with potential customers. They have the Swiss Army that's interested in what they're doing. They're also building the hardware. So they're building these chips, and they're going to go into these different objects, and they're also going to be building a phone. It's going to be a Web3 crypto enabled phone. We're trying to get a lot of the dApps, like you said, that Hedera has, whether it's Hashpack or Twigital or Earthlings. That's a game, Karate Combat. We're going to try to get all these dApps on the phone so people could use them as soon as it comes out of the box. But then it's also designed to be post-quantum resistant. That's what the chips are, to be able to make this Web3 world so much easier for people to use. But it's not going to stop there. That's going to be the start. They're putting these satellites into space, ready for these transactional Internet of Things. So all of the infrastructure is getting to the point where it's in place and ready to go. So the next layer is getting that token to be able to transfer between one another. And that's supposed to be coming next year. And that token is going to be built on Hedera. Another DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure use case, is Neuron. And Neuron is, there's another network that's similar out there called Helium.
I seen that. Anything over 50x is a hidden gem. Well, I mean, I agree with that. But if you look at what's a 50x from where we bought it at 4 cents, do the math. 10x is 40 cents. What is a 50x? Where does that get us? $2? I believe HBAR is going to blow $2 out of the friggin' water. That's why I say hidden gem.
But Neuron did it a little bit differently. They said, well, what's the one use case we know that what we want to do is perfect for? And it was actually drones and aviation, making sure to track these objects as they're going through and doing what they need to do. They knew that there was going to be the need for delivery using drones. There's no point in having a 4,000 pound vehicle delivering an object that's only a few ounces. So you can do all of that with drones. So they said, well, what is the best sensors we would need to put out to be able to do that? They determined what those sensors were, and then they went about and made sure that they had customers. They're in deep talks with, well, 3 of the 4. James, the founder of this team, hasn't told me which 3, but the big 4 drone delivery services are Google Wing, Amazon Prime, Zipline, and Mana, and they're in deep talks with 3 of those.
Do you guys understand how this ties in with the Internet of Things? Think of all the drones that are going to be delivering your packages soon. All of the things that are going to be done by drone that in 2025 in most parts of the USA will start to come online at some point. What do you think the Internet of Things is for? What do you you got to get on projects before they become the mainstream. Once they become the mainstream, like XRP is the mainstream now. It wasn't the mainstream when we were at 35 cents, okay? It wasn't the mainstream when we were at 50 cents, okay? But now you're getting more mainstream talk, which means it's going to be even harder if you get in at this time. You want to get in before it becomes mainstream. It's only a matter of time before you start seeing this across all your TV stations too. But by then, when you ask me if you should buy, just like everybody who asked me if they should buy XRP at $2.35, and I say in good conscience, I can't tell you that because I was begging everybody to buy it sub 40 when it was there and to take advantage of it when it had the 2-year accumulation phase. I'm not begging you right now. I was with HBAR when I was buying it at 4 cents about the opportunity. But again, you have to make an informed decision. If I'm saying I think it's going to go over $2, is 28 cents a bad buy? I am not a financial advisor, nor do I pretend to play one on my own show.
So they have the customers. Then they needed to go out and put the sensors out. So they started a beta program. They have these sensors already throughout the world. And now they're going to be moving on to the next step. They need to incentivize all the people that are running these different sensors. And they're starting off with that beta program, but they're going to need a token because these transactions have to be done on a very regular basis. So they're going to be launching a token again on Hedera going into next year. And then it's going to be all about scaling. Once they've gotten that layer on board, they're going to scale. They'll start off with that aviation use case,
Ronnie, I
tracking
got
drones,
you. I get
and incentivizing all of the sensor operators. But those sensors are very useful for a lot of other things as well. So they're going to move directly from that into autonomous vehicles, into smart cities. These things take years. Even though you can dream things up, that doesn't mean it's going to come to fruition. And the difference I see with what's happening on Hedera and a lot of other networks is the teams that are attracted to and building on Hedera are actually making these things come to fruition.
Are there any other topics that you wanted to touch on?
Well, certainly the gaming space is an interesting one to talk about. And this is being done in a lot.
I don't care about the gaming space. I do, but I don't. Because that's kind of a promotional piece in my opinion. All right, so we got to hear what we needed to. So that's that. In our next live, I'm going to be talking very deeply. I'll be talking more about, and maybe I should just give you a heads up of what it is, with ESE. Because who knows where it'll be the next time. So the ESE is a cryptocurrency designed to offer a range of real-world applications, particularly in the digital asset space. So I actually have a video that'll help explain this to you, and it's going to be like a 2-minute thing you can watch, and then I'm out of here. But I actually saved it on here.
That's trading with EC. Respective of geography.
Okay, so let's see.
To acquire entire digital assets at a mere fraction of their worth. We aim to democratize digital assets trading, bridging accessibility for all, irrespective of geography. Simultaneously, we are cultivating a robust ecosystem where owners of premium digital assets can confidently realize optimal value in the secondary market. Experience the future of digital assets trading with EC. EC is your premier destination for digital assets, supercharging transactions and simplifying your digital asset acquisitions. For sellers, navigating the digital frontier of digital assets can be a daunting task. With unpredictable market fluctuations and discerning buyers, striking a favorable deal often feels challenging. At EC, it's not just about transactions. It's about creating opportunities. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting your journey, EC opens the door to endless possibilities. Our intuitive platform makes it easy to list, browse, and acquire digital assets. With a few simple clicks, you're on your way to securing your next big investment. Stay ahead of the curve with EC's real-time analytics, giving you the insights needed to make informed decisions and maximize your returns. EC isn't just a marketplace, it's a global community. We're bridging the gap between buyers and sellers, making digital asset trading acceptable.
This is my most important part of this whole thing. I know it's at the very end, but this is the most important. This is the money shot, and then I'm out of here.
It's a global community. We're bridging the gap between buyers and sellers, making digital asset trading accessible to everyone, everywhere. Join EC today, where your success is just a transaction away.
Wait until we get in the white papers. I know that's a cheesy little thing that I came up with that I found, but it's something to at least get your mind open. But next time, I'm going to show you a little bit deeper.